Marcus Hale did not expect the sentence that would end his engagement to arrive between a grocery list and a wedding seating chart. It was a quiet Sunday. No drama, no warning signs. Just late afternoon light falling across the kitchen table of the apartment he shared with Rachel, and 2 mugs of coffee going cold while they argued about whether her cousin should sit near the bar or near her parents. 11 weeks before their wedding. That was the timing. Marcus was 34, a financial risk analyst who spent his days studying worst-case scenarios for companies that preferred not to think about them. His job was predicting what could go wrong and how expensive the consequences might be. Ironically, he had never run that kind of analysis on his own relationship. Rachel was 31, a brand strategist at a boutique marketing firm. Smart, charismatic, the kind of person who filled space easily. When she entered a room, conversations adjusted around her without anyone noticing it happening. They had been together almost 4 years, engaged for nearly a year. From the outside, everything looked exactly how success is supposed to look. Venue booked, photographer paid, flights purchased, deposits non-refundable. Their refrigerator door was covered with color-coded timelines, and vendor contacts held up by magnets from trips they had taken when things still felt simple. Marcus believed stability wasn't something you talked about. It was something you quietly built. Rachel believed stability was something you deserved. That difference had never seemed dangerous before, until that afternoon. She had been tapping her pen against the table for almost a minute before she spoke. Not nervously, rhythmically, like someone waiting for the right dramatic timing. Marcus noticed because noticing patterns was what he did. Finally, she said, "We should probably talk about something. Not can we talk. Not there's something on my mind." Rachel always announced conversations like trailers for upcoming episodes. Marcus looked up slowly. Years of corporate crisis meetings had taught him one thing. People rarely open serious conversations gently. "What about?" he asked. Rachel inhaled like she was preparing a presentation. "I've been doing a lot of thinking about life decisions, about marriage, about whether people really know themselves before they commit forever." That sentence alone made Marcus feel something shift slightly out of place. Not panic, just recalculation. Then came the name, Carter. At first, it had just been background noise in previous weeks. Carter helped with a campaign. Carter stayed late finishing a pitch deck. Carter understood her creative process. Normal coworker mentions. Nothing unusual. Until now. "I think I might have feelings for him," she said. No visible guilt, no hesitation, just a statement. Like she was announcing she might want to repaint the bedroom. Marcus didn't answer immediately. Not because he didn't understand. Because his brain was checking whether this qualified as a serious statement or some kind of emotional thought experiment. "We get married in 11 weeks, he said carefully. "I know." Her tone suggested that detail was logistical, not emotional. "I just think I need space to understand what I feel before making a lifetime decision." Space. That word did a lot of work in modern relationships. Marcus knew that. "What does space mean exactly?" he asked. Rachel leaned back, folding her arms slightly, already irritated by the request for precision. "Just time, talking, spending time together, seeing what this connection actually is." The way she described it made it sound like research, not replacement. "And us?" Marcus asked. She hesitated for the first time. "Not long, just enough. I don't want to cancel anything yet." That was the sentence that clarified everything. She wasn't choosing, she was hedging. "I just don't want to make the wrong decision without being sure," she continued. "I think that's reasonable." Reasonable. Marcus almost smiled at that word, because probability models had taught him something very simple. When someone asks to test an alternative while keeping the original option available, they are not protecting love. They are protecting risk, and usually not yours. He studied her face. Rachel looked mildly inconvenienced, like this conversation was an administrative step she needed to complete before moving forward with plans she had already started forming. "How long has this been going on?" he asked. "A few weeks." Translation: long enough. They had worked late together, shared jokes, built private context. Emotional overlap had already started forming before this conversation ever happened. Marcus recognized the pattern immediately. He had seen similar behavioral graphs in corporate fraud cases. Deviation rarely begins at the moment of discovery. It begins much earlier. "You don't have to react like this," Rachel added, misreading his silence. "I'm trying to be honest instead of doing something behind your back." There it was, the moral reframing, as if announcing the betrayal early converted it into integrity. Then she said the sentence that finally made him laugh. A quiet, disbelieving laugh. "I just need a little time to explore this and then I'll know what's right." Explore. Like their relationship was a safe investment account she could pause while testing a startup. And if the startup failed, apparently she expected to resume the original contract. That was the exact moment something in Marcus stopped negotiating emotionally and started calculating structurally. Because numbers had taught him something relationships rarely admit. When someone asks permission to risk losing you, they have already calculated they probably won't. And that realization changed the entire conversation. Marcus did not experience heartbreak the way most people imagine it. There was no shouting, no dramatic exit, no broken objects. What he felt instead was something much colder. Resolution. Not emotional clarity. Structural clarity. Because once Rachel had asked for permission to explore another relationship while keeping theirs intact, the situation stopped being romantic and started looking like a risk assessment problem. And Marcus knew exactly how to deal with risk. She wasn't confused. She was optimizing. And in her model, he was supposed to remain the safe option while she tested a higher volatility investment. The strange part was how calm he felt once he understood that. Not angry, not devastated, just finished. In Rachel's mind, that kitchen conversation had created a pause, a temporary suspension. In Marcus's mind, it had created an ending. She just didn't know it yet. That evening, she said she was meeting a friend for drinks. Maybe she was. Maybe she wasn't. For the first time in 4 years, Marcus realized he no longer needed verification. The outcome variable had already been resolved. After she left, the apartment became very quiet. Not sad quiet, empty quiet. Marcus opened his laptop and pulled up the wedding planning spreadsheet. Color-coded, payment deadlines, contract terms, cancellation clauses, $34,000 connected to a single October weekend. He studied the numbers the same way he studied distressed portfolios at work. Emotion always tells people to wait. Math tells you delay increases loss. His father had once told him something during a failed business deal. The most expensive mistake isn't a bad decision. It's refusing to exit one. Marcus picked up his phone. The first call was the venue. The coordinator answered cheerfully, assuming he was confirming final details. Instead, he said, "I need to cancel the October reservation." Silence. Then the professional tone changed. Policies explained. Deposit lost. Future payments avoided. $14,000 saved with one decision. Next call, catering, then photography, then music, then rentals. Each conversation felt strangely procedural, like dismantling something that technically still existed but no longer had structural support. Apparently, wedding cancellations 11 weeks out were not rare. That detail surprised him. By 9:12 p.m., it was finished. No venue, no dinner, no first dance. Just cancellation confirmations sitting quietly in his inbox. The wedding Rachel still believed in had stopped existing 2 hours earlier. She came home at 10:17, laughing at something on her phone. Perfume from outside air. Cold night smell. She kicked off her heels and dropped onto the couch like nothing significant had happened that day. "You want to watch something?" she asked casually, like they were discussing takeout. Marcus looked at her and understood something unsettling. She truly believed he was waiting. Waiting while she evaluated whether Carter was worth replacing him. Waiting while she tested emotional chemistry. Waiting while she decided his value. What she didn't know. The decision phase was already over. She just wasn't the one who finalized it. The next morning, reality arrived. Rachel woke around 8, walked into the kitchen, scrolled her phone, kissed his cheek absent-mindedly. "I think I'm meeting Carter later to talk," she said while pouring coffee, like she was mentioning a dentist appointment. That was the moment Marcus decided delay no longer served any purpose. "We need to talk," he said. She exhaled sharply. Immediate irritation. "Marcus, I told you, I just need a little time. You're making this more dramatic than it needs to be." There it was, the reframing, her decision, his reaction, his fault. He kept his voice calm. "The wedding is canceled." She blinked. No reaction, just processing delay. Then she laughed slightly, the way people laugh when they assume exaggeration. What do you mean canceled? I mean the venue is canceled, catering canceled, photographer canceled, everything. Silence filled the kitchen. Not emotional silence, cognitive silence. Her brain is recalculating. Color slowly left her face. Her first reaction wasn't sadness. It was anger. You canceled our wedding without talking to me? Marcus almost admired the precision of that reframing. You asked me for space to date someone else while we were engaged, he said calmly. Apparently in her mental model, those events were unrelated. She started pacing, hands through her hair, fast breathing. You're overreacting. I said I needed time. That's normal. Marcus nodded slightly. And I gave you time. Pause. Just not while building a marriage with me. That was the exact second she understood. Not emotionally, structurally. Her posture changed, anger turning into uncertainty. Wait, what are you saying? Marcus didn't raise his voice, didn't dramatize, didn't attack. He simply removed ambiguity. I'm saying the relationship ended yesterday. Silence. Real silence now. And I'm saying you should pack a bag and stay somewhere else. That sentence landed harder than anything else, because until that moment she still believed she controlled the timeline. Now she understood she didn't. Her eyes searched his face like she was trying to find hesitation. There wasn't any. You can't be serious. Marcus didn't answer immediately, not for effect, because final decisions deserve stillness. I am. And for the first time since the conversation started, Rachel looked unsure. Not about Carter, about Marcus. And that was the moment the balance of power quietly changed. The legal situation was simple. The emotional situation was not. The lease was in Marcus's name. It always has been. He had covered nearly 70% of the rent anyway, mostly because his salary made it practical, not because they had ever expected to need that distinction. Until now. Rachel stood in the middle of the bedroom looking at him like he had just betrayed her. That part almost fascinated him. You're serious? She asked. Not sad, not hurt, offended. The same person who had calmly asked to emotionally date another man while engaged now seemed genuinely shocked that consequences existed. The argument lasted 18 minutes. Marcus knew because he glanced once at the oven clock and once again when her tone finally started losing certainty. Most of what she said followed the same pattern. You're being dramatic. You're overreacting. You're insecure. You're punishing me for being honest. Marcus noticed something interesting. She never once said, I'm sorry. Eventually, he stopped responding. Not to win, because the discussion phase had already expired. He walked to the closet, pulled one of her suitcases down from the top shelf, and placed it on the bed. Not aggressively, not symbolically, practically. You can take what you need for a few days, he said. You can figure out the rest later. She didn't move at first, just stared, like her brain was still trying to find the version of Marcus that negotiated instead of concluding. I honestly never thought you'd react like this, she said. That might have been the most honest sentence she had said, because she really hadn't. In her model, Marcus was predictable, stable, patient, recoverable. Instead, she was now standing in a bedroom packing because the backup plan had just removed itself. Rachel started throwing clothes into the suitcase with sharp, theatrical movements. Not packing, performing. Every few minutes, she would stop and restart the argument like she was trying to reopen a closed courtroom. This is insane. No response. You're destroying everything over nothing. No response. You'll regret this. Marcus sat on the edge of the chair near the window and simply watched. Calm observation is deeply unsettling to people who expect emotional reactions. Eventually, she zipped the suitcase hard enough that the sound echoed. Then came the question she clearly hadn't expected to need answered. So, what exactly am I supposed to do now? Marcus answered immediately. You go stay with Carter. For the first time that morning, she hesitated. A small pause. Half a second. But real. That's not the point. That hesitation told Marcus something important. Carter existed as a possibility, not as reality. She had expected optionality, not commitment. You said you were seeing him today anyway, Marcus said. So now you have the space you asked for. She looked at him like he had violated some invisible agreement. You're really just throwing me out? Marcus shook his head slightly. You asked us to pause our relationship while testing another one. Small pause. I'm just finishing the sentence. That landed. Conversation stopped. Rachel rolled the suitcase into the living room. At the door, she stopped, turned. Her voice had changed. Less authority, more uncertainty. So that's it? 4 years and you're just done? That question almost irritated Marcus. Not because of the accusation, because of math. 4 years, he said calmly. And 11 weeks before our wedding, you wanted to see if someone else might be better. Pause. You ended it yesterday. Another pause. I'm just the one who accepted it. That was the first moment Rachel didn't have a response ready. Real silence entered the room. She picked up her phone, started typing. Marcus didn't need confirmation who she was messaging. A few minutes later, she grabbed the suitcase handle. You're going to regret this, she said. Her voice carried less certainty now. Once you calm down, we'll talk like adults. Marcus didn't respond, because sometimes silence communicates finality better than words. She waited 1 second longer than necessary, almost like she expected him to stop her. He didn't. Rachel walked out, and just like that, the woman who thought she was exploring options walked out to become one. The apartment didn't feel dramatic afterward. No cinematic silence, just absence. The normal quiet that happens when a constant source of noise disappears. Marcus sat on the couch and mentally reviewed the last 24 hours. Confession, cancellation, suitcase, exit. Strangely, he still didn't feel anger, just completion. When you work in risk analysis long enough, you learn something uncomfortable. Once enough variables appear, outcomes stop being emotional. They become obvious, and obvious outcomes require execution. His phone buzzed. First message, we need to talk later when you calm down. Second, you're making a huge mistake. Third, don't do something you'll regret. Marcus looked at the messages for a long moment. 4 years of conversations above them. Trips, jokes, plans, memories. It all suddenly looked like archived files from a closed case. Not painful, just finished. He blocked her number, then Instagram, then LinkedIn, then everything else. Not revenge, closure. 10 minutes later, unknown number. Ignored. Another unknown number. Ignored. Third number. Marcus, what are you doing? Blocked. That was when the dynamic truly changed. Rachel had always controlled conversations. She argued until exhaustion created compromise. But blocking someone removes the arena completely. No debate, no persuasion, no emotional leverage, just silence. And silence was something she had never planned for. Over the next hour, 4 more unknown numbers tried. Each one disappeared into the same quiet digital wall. And somewhere across the city, for the first time since this started, Rachel was running out of moves. Eventually, the calls stopped. Not because Rachel accepted the situation, because she ran out of ways to reach him. The apartment stayed quiet after that. Not the heavy silence people describe in movies, just the ordinary quiet of a place that had lost one of its daily sounds. Somewhere across Denver, Marcus assumed Rachel was beginning to understand something she had never planned for. Backup plans only work if the original option stays available. The next few days surprised him. No dramatic scenes, no emotional collapse, just logistics, which somehow felt more final. On Thursday morning, he shut down the wedding website. The page still had their engagement photos and a countdown timer that now felt almost surreal. 76 days to a wedding that no longer existed. 1 click. Page gone. Next came messages to relatives who had already booked flights. He kept it simple. The wedding has been canceled. I'll explain later. Please cancel the trip. His family didn't ask many questions. They understood the tone. Rachel's family was different. By Friday afternoon, unknown numbers started appearing again. Her sister, her mother, 2 friends. Marcus let every call go to voicemail. Eventually, one message stood out. One of Rachel's friends said Rachel told everyone there had just been a misunderstanding, that she had mentioned a harmless workplace crush, and Marcus had overreacted. That version almost impressed him, not because it was convincing, because it was predictable. When people create a disaster, controlling the narrative is usually step 2. Marcus didn't correct anyone. Truth has a way of arriving without marketing. The more interesting moment came the following Wednesday. Marcus was cooking dinner, pasta, nothing complicated, just something routine enough to keep his hands busy while his mind stayed clear. His phone buzzed. Unknown number again. He almost ignored it. Then he opened it. The name at the bottom surprised him. Carter. The message was short. Hey. I think we should talk. Marcus didn't answer immediately, because that message revealed more than Carter probably intended. Confident replacements don't contact former fiancés. People who realize they've walked into unfinished situations do. Marcus stirred the pasta slowly before replying. There's nothing to talk about. 3 dots appeared. Then, Rachel's pretty upset. She didn't expect things to go this far. Marcus actually smiled slightly at that, because it confirmed his original assumption. Rachel never expected loss. She expected optionality. Another message appeared. She said you blocked her everywhere. Marcus replied, that was intentional. A full minute passed. Then Carter sent one final message. Honestly, man, I didn't realize you two were still that serious. That was the moment something clicked. Rachel hadn't been honest with him either, because nobody who knew a wedding was 11 weeks away would ever describe that relationship as not that serious. Marcus stared at the message for a few seconds. That one sentence explained everything. Rachel hadn't just tried to manage Marcus. She had been managing Carter too. Different versions of reality, different narratives, different timelines. Marcus put the phone down and finished cooking. The entire exchange lasted maybe 3 minutes, but it explained the whole collapse. Rachel had tried to transition from one life to another without fully closing the first. Reality doesn't usually allow that. Marcus blocked Carter's number, not out of anger, out of boundary discipline. Whatever consequences they were now dealing with belonged to them. The next few weeks settled into something resembling normal life again. Work filled his schedule. Weekends suddenly had empty space where wedding meetings used to live. Friends slowly heard what happened. Most reactions followed the same pattern: shock, then anger on his behalf. One friend said something during dinner that stayed with him. She tried to keep you as the safety net while testing a new parachute. That was exactly it. About a month later, Marcus ran into someone unexpected. One of Rachel's coworkers. They had met briefly at a holiday party the previous winter. She recognized him immediately at a coffee shop line and gave him the careful expression people use when they know they're standing near emotional debris. They talked for a few minutes. That conversation filled in the missing pieces. Rachel and Carter had started seeing each other openly almost immediately, but the office already knew she had been engaged, which meant her external story and her workplace reality weren't matching. And inconsistencies like that don't stay quiet. Reputations shift fast in professional environments, especially when timelines don't add up. Marcus listened politely, then thanked her, and walked away, because by then it truly didn't matter anymore. His life had already moved forward. He assumed Rachel and Carter would either stabilize or collapse on their own. Either way, it was no longer his problem. At least that's what he believed, because 8 months later his phone lit up with a name he hadn't seen since the morning she rolled that suitcase out of his apartment. 8 months was enough time for the situation to feel like it belonged to a previous version of his life. Work had intensified. He had taken a short hiking trip with friends. The apartment had been rearranged enough that it no longer looked like a shared space. Most importantly, the silence had remained intact. Until one Tuesday evening at 7:42 p.m., when Rachel's name appeared on his screen again. Marcus almost didn't answer the message. Unknown numbers had become background noise over the previous months. Usually they meant nothing worth reopening, but this one started with his name. Marcus, it's me. He didn't need the second message to know who it was. Rachel. 8 months. That was how long it had taken. The next message came seconds later. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I really need to talk to you. Marcus stared at the screen longer than he expected to. Not because he was conflicted, because he was surprised it had taken this long. Situations built on emotional shortcuts rarely collapse immediately, but they almost always collapse eventually. Curiosity won just enough to ask one question. What do you want? Her reply came almost instantly. Can we meet? Just once. That request alone said everything. People who are happy where they landed don't try to revisit where they left. Marcus asked the only question that mattered. What happened with Carter? This time the pause was longer, nearly 2 minutes, long enough to suggest the answer wasn't easy to type. Then, we broke up. 3 words. No surprise. Relationships that begin by stepping over another one usually don't start on stable ground. Another message followed quickly. I made a mistake. Marcus didn't respond immediately. Instead, he leaned back in his chair and remembered the last time he had seen her. Standing in the doorway, suitcase in hand, certain he would regret letting her walk out. Now, 8 months later, she was asking to talk, which meant the experiment she wanted to run had produced results, and apparently she didn't like the data. He decided one thing immediately. He wouldn't meet her, not because he was angry, because closure doesn't always require conversation. Rachel sent 3 more messages over the next hour, longer ones, more emotional, fragments of explanations. I've been doing a lot of thinking. I didn't realize what I was risking. I thought I had more time. Marcus didn't need the explanation. The equation was simple. She left to explore another life. That life ended. Now she was checking if the previous one was still available. Human logic is often very predictable when fear enters the picture. He finally replied, I hope things work out for you. But there's nothing left to talk about. Her response came immediately, faster than any message she had sent all night. Marcus, please don't do this. That word again. Please. We had 4 years together. That has to mean something. It did. Just not what she hoped it meant. 4 years meant Marcus had already seen how she handled uncertainty, how she handled options, how she handled loyalty when something new appeared. Marcus typed slowly. Not out of hesitation, out of precision. It did mean something. Pause. It showed me exactly who you are when something better seems possible. No response came for almost a minute. Then, I wasn't thinking clearly. I thought I could figure things out without losing everything. That might have been the most honest thing she had said since the beginning. Marcus answered one final time. You didn't lose everything. Pause. You chose something else. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then one final message. Is there really no chance? Marcus looked at that question for a long moment. Not because he didn't know the answer, because he did. Growth sometimes looks like distance from the person you used to be. You already made that choice 8 months ago. That was the last message he sent. Then he blocked the number, the same way he had before. No anger, no speech, just silence. The conversation ended the same way the relationship had, without noise. A few weeks later, he heard through mutual friends that Rachel had left her company. Office dynamics had apparently become complicated after everything with Carter became known. Eventually, she moved to another city. Marcus never confirmed where. By then, it no longer mattered. Sometimes people think relationships end because someone makes a mistake. But mistakes usually happen once. What Rachel did wasn't a mistake. It was a decision made with full awareness that another person might get hurt. And once someone shows you how easily they can replace you, the smartest thing you can do isn't revenge. It's removal. Because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And indifference is what Marcus finally felt when he saw her name disappear from his blocked list history months later. Not pain, not anger, just distance. Some people don't come into your life to stay. Some come to show you exactly what you should never accept again. And sometimes the healthiest ending isn't getting the last word. It's realizing you don't need one.